Fallen pirates were a thing a long time ago when the eliksni fought on their homeworld of Riis. Over time, they would sort of fizzle out, but now as the witness has shattered Eramis from her crystal tomb, they have risen once more and are in search of an ancient relic lost during our Dark Age. Today we're going to talk about the backstory of these fallen pirates, catch killers and skiff blades, Eramis's escape, and how the mystery of this season's story begins.
It will not end this way. It can't. What?
The season opens with a cutscene where Eramis speaks about her House of Salvation, how they were all working together for one cause and fighting stasis and wielding it for themselves to build up the eliksni. But once the Guardians jumped in and Eramis was locked away in her crystal prison, House Salvation would abandon these beliefs, and after her so-called death, they would join the traitorous Mithrax to bend their knee to the Guardians and the Traveler. Stasis and the dark consumed Eramis, as she states, but it also likely set her free. In the first entry titled Thaw in the new book Between Stolen Stars, we see who we believe to be the witness speaking to Eramis. "You are cold, child." Eramis's world was a smoking smother of darkness and pain. She could not move, she was only vaguely aware of the voice. "We have a use for you." A mass of frozen splinters sealed her eyes. How long had she been here? "We would have you find something for us, something which was lost." The voice swirled around like smoke, echoed inside her mind. Though terrifying, it was something to focus on amid the surrounding nothing. Who was speaking? "Answer," said the voice, convincing and commanding. Eramis paused, as if in response, her perception began to dim and she felt the crushing darkness closing in around her once more. There was no fight here. This was no choice. She remembered her people. Yes, she thought, and the pain seized. "Gather those who would serve you, and know you serve us." A surge of images filled her mind, tendrils of inky vapor trailing through the stars. Hidden vessels secreted amongst long-forgotten treasures, a whisper rising to roar, the great machine beginning to awaken, and then, from everywhere, shattering. Eramis sat in the heart of his ketch, lit only by the weak amber glow of his view screen. He frowned as he charted another trip through the Themis cluster with a quarter load of phase glass. The job would barely pull enough to cover the voyage, and ether reserves were dangerously low. How could his crew... A blinking light caught his attention, chatter on a long, dormant channel. Eramis leaned forward in his seat, his ancient leathers creaking as he moved. He tapped at the screen with one gnarled claw. The missive was direct and merciless. A jagged grin crept over his face. She hadn't changed. The comm system squawked from disuse. Below decks, a patchwork band of dregs and marauders looked up in confusion. "A call's gone out," Eramis's voice rasped from the speakers. "Raise the old flag. We sail once more." So in that card, Eramis was frozen in those stasis crystals and the witness speaks to her. It says, "Gather those who serve you and know that you serve us now. We want you to find something for us, something that was lost." So these fallen pirates were a thing long ago, and it turns out they're making a return now thanks to Eramis. We hear the words skiff blades and catch killers. Some of these are mentioned in the lore, and here's what they had to say about the catch killers. "The old crews. Yes, I have gathered much information about them in the past weeks. In fact, I have just finished going over my notes. The old crews rose in the wake of the whirlwind, during what we eliksni refer to as the Long Drift, the span of time between the fall of Riis and our arrival in Sol System. I believe the equivalent period would be your Dark Ages, though Riis did not have Risen or Iron Lords. Instead, we had crews. As you can imagine, this period was quite lawless, as the stability and abundance of Riis was no more. This resulted in what I believe is called a zero-sum game, a situation in which every gain or advantage is earned at the expense of another. Several fearsome individuals rose to great power and authoritative prominence at the time. The eliksni word for them translates to catch killer, meaning one who boards and wrests control of enemy ships. These catch killers commanded great fleets and raided many supply routes, procuring objects of historic or intrinsic value along the way. It is exciting to wonder what treasures they accumulated beyond these we've already recovered. Many crews were abolished or disbanded over time, but those that survived did so through great hardship. They are formidable indeed, but then so is the Vanguard and its guardians. So what we call these fallen pirates, the eliksni call them crews, and they existed around the time of our Dark Age near their home system and planet of Riis. So let's talk about this week's story that kicks off Season of Plunder. In our first mission, we are sent out to Europa by the Drifter to extract something important. It turns out, it's the spider.
Who's there? Drifter? Is that you?
I'm there in spirit, boss. I finessed the Guardian into doing the actual rescuing.
You let the Guardian see me like this? We'll have words once I'm out of here.
About that. First, let's discuss the matter of our hazard pay.
What? We had a deal. I will not be leveraged by an amateur extortionist.
Sure thing, boss. We'll just ship you back to the Tangled Shore. Queen Mara's got a handsome bounty on your ugly mug. Could be quite the payday.
Tell you what. House Salvation commandeered my old catch. If you can fight your way there, it's yours.
So we know Spider wanted to get smuggled out of the reef by the Drifter from previous lore cards in other seasons, and now it's actually happened. Except instead of the Drifter, we are sent out to get him. Along the way, the Spider tells us that House Salvation is back, and they are looking for dark relics.
House Salvation is rallying. Someone's kicked the hornet's nest. They're looking for something left over from the Dark Ages.
In the end, the Spider says if we can clear a way to his catch, which was overtaken by House Salvation, we can have it. And upon fighting to the end, we see the catch, and Eramis has broken free, seemingly by the Witness.
Oh, hell. The Witness must have broken Eramis out. No wonder House Salvation's scrambling.
So, the ship stealer is back in play. The artifact she's after.
Price of her freedom, I bet.
Oh, imagine the resale value.
Luckily, we got a clean ship and a dirty crew to chase her with.
Back in the city, we form our very own band of pirates, Drifter, Spider, Mithrax, and his daughter, Ido. With these Spider's catch, we board other vessels in space in search of clues about Eramis and taking down some of her new crew in the process.
Eramis, we are both kills. Is this how House Salvation cares for its people?
This is how House Salvation will put an end to the violence that has followed us since the whirlwind.
The whirlwind did not make us this way.
Yes, it did. You are too young to remember, but your mother knew.
In Expedition Europa, we drill out treasure from the surface of, well, Europa to progress the Hall, where at the end we dig up the treasure for ourselves to keep the rewards out of the enemy hands. Lastly, we infiltrate a pirate hideout to take down the Brute. This first week here, this is a Cabal warrior partnering with House Salvation. We recover a dark relic and Ido and Mithrax begin to study it. This is where we are left off for next week's adventure.
Antiquities indeed. So this is where the trail leads. Well then, we best keep these relics out of Eramis's hands, don't you agree? This would make a wonderful addition to my collection, whatever it is. But I imagine you'll hand it over to Mithrax and that nosy daughter of his, for the good of the eliksni. Fine. Valard won't be the only one looking for a relic like this. Let's hunt them down before Eramis does.
Hello, Guardian. My father and I are already studying the relic you reclaimed from the pirates. I am eager to learn the nature of the strange energies that seep from within. I was thrilled to aid in your engagement with Eramis's fleet. I hope my support was beneficial, although I admit I am unused to the rigors of combat. While I did study with the Awoken Techians, gunplay was never a part of the syllabus. I am proud of the progress we made together. Thank you for including me as part of your crew. I must continue my studies. May the light provide.
So you saw there in that pirate hideout, we fought Cabal, who was working with this eliksni group, and why are they working together, or how, you may ask? Well, aside from having the same goals, some of these splinter groups, we know that other alien species have worked together before. Even in the bars of the Tangled Shore back in the day and in some of the lore cards, Cabal and eliksni would gamble together, so perhaps that's how some of these pirate groups formed. And it's not too out of line to think about them working together. Perhaps these rogue Cabal see Eramis's plan in the darkness and the witness, and decide to form crews of their own. Callus had darkness Cabal, so perhaps some just decided to go with the darkness on their own. Anyway, Guardians, that's all we got for today's video. Some awesome information about the pirate crews of the Fallen, what's up with Eramis and the Witness, and where this will lead going forward in the season. If you'd like to see some more Destiny lore and mysteries just like this video, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. Anyway, I thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video.